In the 1990s, World Championship Wrestling started a war with World Wrestling Federation. Wrestling was reaching its all-time popularity in 1998. And it wasn't just because of Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock. If you flip the channel, you'd see the likes of Sting, Goldberg, and the NWO. Its popularity caught the attention of Marvel Superheroes producer Toybiz. The toy producer announced that an agreement had been made with WCW to create toys in 1999 after paying a rumored $5 million for the rights. How would Toybiz approach WCW's massive roster of talent? Would WCW's strategy of partnering with a larger toy producer be the best play for toy aisle domination? Want to look at WCW figures like you have never seen before? Let's take a look back at all things WCW Toy Biz. World Championship Wrestling figures by Toybiz would be first shown at San Diego Comic-Con in 1998, several months before the figure's 1999 launch. Toybiz would be best known to collectors for their figures based on Marvel superheroes. Quote, "Look for our WCW product to push wrestling figures to another level with innovation, advertising, and promotions. Toybiz would continue developing its Marvel figures at a reduced rate, now focusing on a different Incredible Hulk." WCW's toy partner from 1994, Original San Francisco Toy Makers, would continue to develop new products through 1998, even as Toybiz was hyping its plans. Allegedly, the transition to working with Toybiz would catch OSFTM off guard. In a move to keep business afloat, OSFTM would partner with Extreme Championship Wrestling for 1999 and on. For the first time ever, collectors would be able to stockpile wrestling figures from all three major wrestling companies. Would Toybiz's WCW push wrestling figures to another level as promised? Toybiz's 1999 catalog at the beginning of the year shows an unruly amount of plans. At launch, you could find Smash and Slam, WCW vs. NWO 2-packs, and a Smash and Slam ring. Smash and Slam was a massive assortment of 9 characters. Lex Luger, The Giant, Sting, Diamond Dallas Page would all be shipped to stores in one case. NWO members Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage in another shipping case, and also Bill Goldberg, who was so popular he was shipped to retailers in cases all by himself. The original plan for the Giant was a more detailed Rey Mysterio, which was a little plainer at release. Innovative the line was, with paint app variants and bonus figures, a first in wrestling figure history. Two-packs featuring the theme of WCW vs. NWO would also be available. The Battle of the Giants, the Clash of the Champions, and Power of Beauty. Gimmicks would follow not too far behind.
WCW Fashion Brawlers with Diamond Dallas Page and Sting. Kevin Nash and Goldberg. Fashion Brawlers. Knows you're grabbing his nose.
Get off my nose.
Bend and Flex solos and box sets, as well as grip and flip figures, would be available by spring and summer 1999. Ring Fighters would be the next assortment of figures available, with Scott Steiner, Chris Benoit, Bret Hart, and Booker T. Each figure came with a part of a ring. When assembled, would create this. Slam and Crunch would reach retail in the summer with 4 new figures. Buff Bagwell, Bill Goldberg, Conan, and Sting. Toybiz leadership was caught off guard by the enormous fan support for WCW. In fact, by the summer of 1999, WWF and WCW were going head-to-head in the battle of toy sales that left most other brands in the dust. To account for the growth, Toybiz would increase the assortment sizes from 4 wrestlers to 6. Stores restocking WCW would notice Ring Fighters, previously only these 4, would add Bill Goldberg and Sting. And variants Slam and Crunch would add Saturn and Kevin Nash. Ringmaster's original lineup would be Lex Luger, Bret Hart, Bill Goldberg, and Chris Jericho, with Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Rick Steiner joining the lineup as it would find its home at retail. NWO Rivals, the Four Horsemen, would make up the first WCW box set. You know, in theory, a Four Horsemen set sounds great, but I would love to see the reference pictures they used for this Ric Flair figure. Hogan! One of the best play sets of all time, the Nitro Arena, would come out around the same time.
Electronic Nitro Wrestling Arena. You activate the sound. Hear the call of the Wolfpack as Kevin Nash struts up the runway. Lower in Sting from the rafters. Hear the count as you pin your opponent. This is no ordinary ring. It's the best WCW wrestling ring ever.
WCW as a company was beginning to lose steam by the fall of 1999. The figures, on the other hand, would not. 6 new series and a handful of box sets would become available. Ring Fighters box set, Head Ringers, Series 1 and 2, and Grip and Flip Series 2 were nothing to pop over. Brawling Bikers and Road Wild Wrestlers were unusual, considering the only mode of transportation that seemed to exist in WCW at the time was limo service. Brawling Bikers would come with a Series 2 and also in a box set of 2 before the end of 1999. Praiseworthy would be the next wave of Smash and Slam figures, featuring different attires for all released. An altogether brand new set called Bruisers would filter into retail around October 1999 with an enormous 12-wrestler lineup. Getting the bad out of the way, this Sting, DDP, and side-leaning Goldberg. Macho Man was a little short, but at least came with a variant. Nash was an upgrade on the previous figure attempts, and the rest of the figures were all worthy of purchase. Retailers would have stacks of WCW exclusives prepared for the 1999 holiday season. Will WCW figures continue their momentum into the new millennium? Stick around.
Scott Hall dolls. Scott Hall dolls. Buy one, get the next one for exactly the same price.
With 1999 in the rear view, Toybiz would show plans for 2000 at Toy Fair in February. It's worth noting that several items from this event and from the 2000 catalog would not be released. The Nitro Girl dolls, Cyborg wrestlers, a second Bend and Flex assortment, accessory packs, and even more.
Nothing's bigger than the WCW, because we've got more power with WCW Power Slam Wrestlers. Power Slam Wrestlers are stronger and tougher, and nothing gets in their way. With spinning kicks, Goldberg's spear, Sting's bat attack, and Nash's powerbomb. These giants of wrestling will knock the competition down to size. Are you ready to come where the big boys play? Then you're ready for WCW Power Slam Wrestlers. Just try to top us. WCW Power Slam Wrestlers. Figures and rings sold separately.
Power Slam and Thunder Slam 2-packs would be the first figures available in 2000. Certainly no one would be upset by 5 new characters available in Power Slam, with Hack, Chris Kanyon, Sid Vicious, Dennis Rodman, and Roddy Piper. Toybiz at least tried to give you a reason to collect the others. Thunderslam 2-packs included Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, now with Wolfpack hand abilities, Goldberg and Bam Bam Bigelow, and Sting and Bret Hart, with a much-needed improved head design. If you like them big, Tough Talkers would release with several 12-inch figures and eventually some exclusives. Battle Arm box sets would follow Power Slam and Thunder Slam, allegedly working with the Nitro Arena playsets. Slam Force was like something you would see from a Marvel action figure line. This was Marvel's attempt at turning wrestling fans into comic book collectors. Plans show 12-month subscriptions for the comic, but sadly it never got off the ground. The Slam Force figures are based on the art. Kevin Nash, Bret Hart, Goldberg, and Sting, though at some point Vampiro and Chris Benoit were planned. More WCW figures hitting the road. Bash at the Beach, Super Brawl 2000 box set, Talkback Wrestlers, and Gross Out Wrestlers would all reach collectors before or during the summer of 2000. Sting, Goldberg, and Hulk Hogan Road Rebels would be included, with their own unique design on the vehicles. Yes, we are getting our mileage out of this footage.
Oh my God,
Brother.
The Gross Out Wrestlers and Talkback Wrestlers are not in scale with other figures and are passable unless you're a huge fan of Sting, Sid, Buff Bagwell, or Goldberg. Bash at the Beach figures included Diamond Dallas Page, Goldberg, Lex Luger, Sting, and this must-have Bret Hart. Originally called Splash and Bash, at one point included this Hulk Hogan. Toybiz was giving Spider-Man the Beach treatment too, with these aquatic-themed figures around the same time. A Bash at the Beach ring set with a ring that actually floats would coincide with the figure's release. Also released in the summer, an Evolution of Sting box set featuring a whopping 6 figures. Can't forget about this Super Brawl 2000 set with what could have been a little Nate figure? Come on now. Surprisingly, only one more release would come before the end of 2000. Main Event 2-packs featuring Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, Bill Goldberg versus Sid Vicious, and Sting and Lex Luger. Exclusive to Kmart. You remember Kmart. Behind the scenes, WCW's fate was in limbo. It was losing significant ground in the wrestling war with WWF. Fans were leaving in droves. Former president and on-air personality Eric Bischoff would look to buy WCW in an effort to save the brand. But would WWF owner Vince McMahon have other plans?
Lord of the Rings, it's about a fellowship
Frodo, look out! A cave troll!
on a mission to save Middle-earth.
Over here, Bigfoot!
It's about bravery.
Legolas, fire away! Got 'em! The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
WCW was no longer Toy Biz's shiny new toy. Toy Biz would show some figures for 2001 lineups in their catalog and at Toy Fair, but it was pretty clear they were throwing the majority of their weight behind the new Lord of the Rings toy line. In a 1-2 punch, less than a month later, Vince McMahon would deviously purchase his rival WCW, putting the figures and wrestlers themselves in jeopardy. As the smoke cleared, what had already been in development would trickle out. The rest would be down for the count. Nitro Active would come first, with Kevin Nash, Goldberg, 2 Buff Bagwells, and Jeff Jarrett, originally shown at Toy Fair 2000. TNT would follow around May of 2001 with Goldberg, Vampiro, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Steiner. One variant includes the Superman logo on the tights, a brave move for the company with the Marvel license. Unleashed would include 4 more must-have figures. Mike Awesome, Kidman, Vampiro, and Shane Douglas would arrive at retail in late of summer 2001. Champions box sets would come, but in my research it was unclear where these would have been released on the timeline. And these. Even more WCW figures would filter into KB Toys from October all the way to February of 2002, nearly one whole year after WCW's doors shuttered. This time, the figures would be mostly re-released versions of figures on smaller carding. That would finally conclude the Toy Biz WCW figures. While it's great that Toy Biz was able to create figures for 42 different wrestlers and personalities, some of which still haven't been attempted since, there are some huge gaps in the roster. Where the hell is Eddie Guerrero? Or any of the other cruiserweights? Glacier would have been a great fit in the line, as would Mortis, Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, Mang, Kurt Hennig, you get the idea. The leadership changes in WCW in 2000 to 2001 would have probably made it hard for Toy Biz to want to commit behind the scenes. Thankfully for collectors, many of the WCW wrestlers would migrate to WWE over the coming years, allowing them to be immortalized in plastic as they should be. And that's it for this one. We don't have a Patreon, so if you want to support us, the best way is by grabbing yourself a deal from one of our shops. If you want to fill in some gaps in your 90s figure collection, check out our new bone-crushing wrestlers. You can also find a guide to all things WCW and pretty much any other figure line in our newly revamped action figure database at figurecollections.com. And be sure to follow us here.